What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. How's everybody doing? It's been a hot minute, but a few weeks ago, I put out a tweet, and I thought this was gonna make a really interesting video, and then I forgot about it for several weeks. But anyway, today we're gonna be answering the question, how good are your favorite Pokemon from Series 2 in the current Regulation C? I may have forgotten about this for a couple of weeks, but now I know more about the format, so I'll be able to give you all more insightful responses. So let's just get right into it. First up, we have Annihilate, my goat. Jag Samurot's goat too, but also my goat. Annihilate's a weird one, because I think it was really good for the first half of Series 2, and then not for the second half of Series 2. It's definitely better now than it was at the end of Series 2. I don't know if it's as good as it was at the beginning. Overall, though, I'm going to say that Annihilate is marginally better. I think Mouseape is a little bit of a bait. I think it's a little bit limiting, even though players like Paul Ruiz have shown that a top player could do super well with it. I personally think that the strengths of Annihilate are better suited to being on its own with other Pokemon than with its best friend from the series past, Maushold. So I think we'll see a bit of a rise in Solo Ape going forward. Gastrodon. Okay, Gastrodon's a really interesting Pokemon because it does completely wall Palafin, which is on like half the teams right now. We're in a very centralized format where Palafin balance is the main archetype that people are trying to beat. Gastrodon, very good against Palafin. But it also kind of just sits on the field and doesn't do anything into the other 5 Pokemon. And if I'm a Palafin balance player, I can just not bring Palafin into the Gastrodon. Gastrodon was really good at the very beginning of Series 2. It got a major tournament win in the online circuit side of things, where it was just able to wall Iron Bundle with Terra, Fire, and its Storm Drain. So I'm going to say it's not going to be able to repeat that kind of a result. Gastrodon is worse in Series 3. Next up, we have, oh my god, okay, nope. Dragonite. Dragonite is really good. It's already been very solid in all of Gen 9, but going into Regulation C, Dragonite stocks are going to be very high. They already are very high. With Terra Normal, Choice Band, and a Qianpao partner, you can be incredibly oppressive with Dragonite offensively, but you don't even need to run that kind of a set. You can go Assault Vest with Multi-Scale and Terra Blast with Terra Flying. Overall, there are a lot of different ways you can run Dragonite, and it's just really good. Dragonite is better than it was in Series 2. Quivet Answer says Surulage. I think Surulage is about the same. Surulage was a niche pick in Series 2, but a pretty effective one. There were some really high finishing teams and some good archetypes like the Vivillon Surulage stuff that was going around for a while that had some pretty solid performances. Surulage in Regulation C is also okay. I think it fits into its niche a little more comfortably, but the niche is smaller. Essentially, if you run Terra Grass on it, it acts as a really nice check to all 3 of the Palance core mons, so Palafin, Arcanine, and Amoonguss, which is quite nice. You have Flash Fire for the Arcanine, Terra Grass resists the water moves that the Palafin's going to be able to throw at you, and also can't be put to sleep by Spore. Other than that, though, it does kind of fall quite flat. If you run it as a counter to Palance, it's going to be pretty effective, but it's also just kind of gonna die against things like Mouseape or Fluttermane Chi-Yu cores, so I'm gonna say that it's about as effective as it was in Series 2, but probably not gonna be the mon that wins like 4 regionals. Slowbro wasn't very good in Series 2 and is worse in Series 3. We just got 4 Darkmons added. They all have 570 base stat total, and Slowbro's not great, so Slowbro is worse in Regulation C. Palafin! I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Palafin, because if you missed it earlier, it's on half of the teams right now. It's significantly stronger than it was in Series 2, but not because the mon is better into the overall format. It's kind of just that people over the course of Gen 9 have figured out just how good Palafin is, and we're just seeing it rise to its rightful place. I think I remember Wolfie, like, in December said that Palafin was one of the most underrated Pokemon, and he's been proven right. Palafin is not particularly insane into any of the meta shifts between the end of Series 2 and the beginning of Regulation C. It's just that more and more people are figuring out that it's really difficult to deal with when it's paired with Arcanine and Amoonguss, which is the Palance core that we've all come to know and love so dearly in Regulation C. Gallade is a really interesting Pokemon because it's actually very strong. With its new ability Sharpness and all of the different slicing moves that it gets, it actually has insane offensive potential. The problem is, it's a Gallade. Its defensive stats aren't exactly fantastic, and its speed isn't exactly Chien-Pao Fluttermane speed either. So the real problem is keeping it alive long enough to do a bunch of damage. There's definitely a way to play Gallade and figure Gallade out in a way that's effective. People just haven't really tried hard enough, but it's also probably not going to be meta-defining or meta-breaking once people do figure it out. It's probably one of those mons that tops an event at some point, and everyone goes, ooh, wow, that person top cut with Gallade, and then everyone forgets about it. That being said, we did just have 4 dark types added to the format, so Gallade is marginally better than it was in Series 2. Tyranitar is a bit of a weird one. I think Lilicole is a pretty decent archetype in Regulation C, and Tyranitar shuts it down super well, but it was already kind of doing that in Series 2. It does pretty well into Fluttermane Chi-Yu stuff, and does pretty well into, I guess, Wo-Chien stuff, but it does get kind of destroyed by Sacred Sword on Chien-Pao. So, Tyranitar is worse in Regulation C than it was in Series 2. Kamikasa says King Gambit was his favorite Pokemon to run in Series 2, and I think that King Gambit is also just a little bit worse in Regulation C, but it's like a difference of taking a mon from S tier and putting it like the very top of A tier. It's still ridiculously good. The stat spread on this thing is just amazing, and it's a King Gambit. It's so good. I think part of it is that people are starting to figure out more ways to exploit the opponent going for a slower mon like King Gambit. You can just kind of kill it with a bunch of stuff that people weren't using in the earlier formats of this year. But overall, it's just a very, very good Pokemon. It's always going to be a Pokemon that I think is feasible to run in any format. So King Gambit is still very good, but slight downturn in its stonk price from Series 2. Rosemary says Sylveon, which is one of the weirdest Regulation C Pokemon to me. Sylveon is a Pokemon that historically is a pretty solid pick. Like, it's usually got its ups and downs. It is meta-relevant here and there. We're in a format where the only change is that they added 4 Dark-type Pokemon. You would think that that makes Sylveon a meta staple, or at least a really good Pokemon to use, and it just hasn't. I've tried making it work. I know other top players have tried making Sylveon work, and there's just something about it that's just not working. And maybe it's because the physical frailty of Sylveon makes it hard to run into a lot of the more physically oriented teams, the Palance stuff, the Chien-Pao stuff, but Sylveon is just not putting in the work that I personally expected it to in this format. That being said, I still think it's going to be a better pick for you now in Regulation C than it was in Series 2. It's just going to take a lot of care and a lot of attention when you're building the team to make sure that Sylveon has the support that it needs. Great Tusk stonks are way down, but again, it's not a bad Pokemon. It's a similar kind of situation to the King Gambit thing, where Great Tusk goes from an S tier mon to like a high B tier mon. It's still a very good Pokemon that you have to respect, but it's not as good. Main reasons being Chien-Pao is added. It's another Pokemon that can hit it really, really hard and is faster than it, but also Chi-Yu is really, really good at just nuking Great Tusk. Even though it doesn't hit it super effectively, it has very good special attack, it has Beads of Ruin, and Great Tusk has less special defense than Voltorb. It's true. Because of the introduction of Chi-Yu, it also has led to more people who are interested in running Earthquake running Garchomp instead. Garchomp is faster than Chi-Yu, whereas Great Tusk is slower, making it a lot more difficult for those archetypes, at least, to deal with the Earthquake spamming. Scarf Great Tusk is still able to outspeed a lot of the same things, so on Sun spammy teams, the Torkoal Lilligant stuff, Great Tusk still plays a big role with that Choice Scarf equipped, but all in all, it's not seeing quite as much play and it's not seeing quite as much effectiveness as it did in Series 2. Oh my god, no Pokemon has seen quite as dramatic a fall from grace between formats as Armarouge the Ladder Slayer. I'm so sorry, Armarouge is way down. Like, the stonks of this thing, cash out, do not hold, get out now. Armarouge is awful now. I mean, awful is a strong word. We did see Jin Fury make day 2 of, I believe, Fort Wayne with Armarouge. It's really not as bad as I think a lot of people are saying that it is, but it's a lot worse. We just had 4 dark Pokemon added. your Pokemon that clicks the expanding force button is really not going to appreciate any of those. But on top of all of that, it doesn't hit super well into Palance stuff. Like, Arcanine can deal with it reasonably effectively. A lot of them aren't running Snarl anymore, but it's still kind of hard for the Rouge to find mileage. And in ladder slaying form, like maybe you're running weakness policy, weak armor, it's still not going to be that great. You get the weak armor boost, and then what? There's so much priority in the format right now, and Rouge doesn't have any of that. So Rouge, way down. Take it out of your builder. Take it out of your builder right now. Do not put it back there until another format drops. Ryan says Corbinite. I love Corbinite. Corbinite is my favorite Pokemon, and I don't know how to answer this one at all, actually. Corbinite is pretty good. It was also pretty good in Series 2. People didn't run it a lot. Ryan got second place at a regional with it. Corbinite's a good Pokemon that's seen a lot of success when it's been used, but it hasn't really seen that much usage, and it still isn't seeing that much usage now. I think it's really, really good into just general balance stuff, the same way that it was in Series 2. Specifically into Ting-Lu stuff, you get a fissure immunity, which is really, really nice, and something that can set up in front of Ting-Lu and doesn't get intimidated by the Arcanine. There's a lot of reasons why Corbinite is pretty good, but it's also a Pokemon that is kind of hard to build a cohesive team around. So, Corbinite, I think it is a better Pokemon now than it was in the last format, albeit marginally. Gothitelle is a super interesting Pokemon to discuss in Regulation C, because on paper, we just had 4 Dark types added to the format. How many times have I said that in this video already? But it's a Psychic type that is at its best when it can sit on the field for multiple turns in a row. The new Pokemon are not great for that. You have Chi-Yu, which can just blow it up. You have Chien-Pao, which can just blow it up. You have Ting-Lu, which can just blow it up with Fissure. And Wo-Chien that nobody runs. So, on paper, Gothitelle should be a lot worse. But, because of the rise of these Ruin Pokemon, a lot of people are not running Ghost types as much anymore. Ghost is a Pokemon type that was super, super common in Series 2, super, super common in Series 1, and has fallen off dramatically because of how effective all of the Ruin Pokemon are into Ghosts. Ghosts are some of the only Pokemon that can switch out of Gothitelle's Shadow Tag, so into everything that's not a Ruin Pokemon, Goth is a lot more effective now than it was in Series 2. That being said, Goth still does have to contend with those Ruin Pokemon, so it's not better than it was in Series 2, where it won a regional. I'm gonna go ahead and say that it takes a slight knock on its effectiveness, stonks slightly down, but it's still pretty good and should be respected. Well, this is a weird one to analyze, Hidden Backpack. Toxtricity is not exactly a Pokemon that we saw do anything in Series 2, and it's not exactly a Pokemon that I've seen ever in Regulation C. But hey, Chi-Yu's in the game now, and I bet you the Choice Specs Boom Burst one-shots a bunch of stuff with Beads of Ruin, so I'm gonna say that it's better now than it was in the last format. Go out there and KO some Mons! Vaporeon is a Pokemon that I unironically lost an endgame 2v1 against in the last Global Challenge, so better in Regulation C than it was in Series 2. Finally, we got Stony J. Stonjourner is a Pokemon that did way better than anybody expected it to in Series 2. Even now, people are forgetting how many events this thing got Day 2 at. Stonjourner was crazy. Unfortunately for the Stony J crew out there, it's a little bit superfluous now. When you have Chien-Pao and Chi-Yu out there, Power Spot's really not as necessary anymore. But maybe somebody will rise and be the champion of Stonjourner once more. Maybe somebody finds the perfect EV spreads to make sure that Stonjourner and also Chien-Pao just roll through the entire format. I'm not holding my breath for that one. Stonjourner stocks way down. Are there any Pokemon that you expect to rise to the top of Regulation C that haven't had their moment in the spotlight yet? Let me know in the comments below, and also tell me what your favorite Pokemon to use in Regulation C has been so far. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you're all having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, whatever it is, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you guys next time.